Hunting After Dark is sponsored by Feral Texas Outdoors Thermal and Night Vision Optics.
Hey guys, this is Jason Price here with the Hunting After Dark podcast, my co-host Justin Rumley, and we are excited to be talking about a new topic here, and we are live on TikTok for the first time ever, and so we're going to try to go live as much as we can, kind of get off the cuff, no edits all the way through, so you'll have to forgive us for the curse words and my high water pants going on and everything else. So
they see, the socks are almost, you've got like centimeters before
I was going to switch.
Before the skin shows. You better tuck them in and make something.
I had black socks. I had some long black socks, and it's just too hot today.
Only a few people make fun of you.
Okay, well, I will do something for you before we get into our topic that I will tell you. Tomorrow, there is a surprise coming for me. Well, maybe for you too. I did order me a pair of On Clouds.
Okay, looky there. I was going to say, Skechers are going away. We're modernizing, going to the On Clouds.
We're going to try the On Clouds. I got my big old wide feet, so if they don't work, man, I'm going to blame you.
That's all right. I was going to say, that's all I wear. These are a little dirty. These are turned into the work shoes, but I've got me a green pair that's waterproof that I wear at hunting now. I probably shouldn't be wearing them as often as I do when we're hunting. It's still kind of warm out here, So the snakes are still out and about, but I just think I'm going to risk it all and keep wearing them, and hopefully the colder weather gets here.
Over there, not moving.
Yeah, hopefully the colder weather gets here sooner than later, so I can just keep on wearing them, because, like I said, they're tried and true, man. I know the waterproof.
I said the waterproof ones are like $250.
Yeah, I was bragging. I was bragging to you the other day about them, and then the guy I was actually with at the time, I was bragging to him about them too, and then here I go, I step off in a little in a cow print hole, and of course it goes above my ankle, so waterproofing then doesn't do any good because it's going past the whole shoe. And I was like, well, they were doing good, but yeah, that's the On Cloud story for the day, and we'll see what they are tomorrow for you.
Well, it looks like we got a mess here in front of us. I don't think that the regular podcast is going to be able to see it because we have it kind of shot over top of it, but people live can kind of see that we do have a bunch of thermal units in front of us. So we have several models of clip-ons. We're going to grab these, and we're going to kind of go through them each, because I don't know how many calls. We probably get a call, at least one a day, if not more, about clip-ons.
At minimum, at least one call a day. Man, people got a ton of clip-on questions. So Jason, I figured,
and I always
put it out there for you.
And I always feel like we're always bursting everybody's bubble because they don't realize how they actually work, realistically in the field. And it's just like we're never trying to to discourage people, but when they realize, I'm like, here, this is the actual practical application, and to do what you want to do, you may have to get the higher end one, and they kind of say, well, maybe that's not the way for me.
Well, then they realize too, is once you put all the pieces together for a clip-on unit, you're at the same price as a dedicated scope. So it just
a lot more.
It makes so much more sense to go with the dedicated. But we'll definitely get off in that rabbit hole here soon.
So which one do we want to start off with first?
Man, that's a good question.
And these are multiple companies, and it's not like someone's better than the others. It's just all of them work just a little bit differently between some of the manufacturers and even the models they have available.
Yeah. So, we can go straight into the new IRA, or I say the new IRA, the Rh25 and the Rl25. We just finished up our field test with them, actually, and we just finished using these two units as clip-ons. So they're pretty fresh on our brain still, so we'll go ahead and get started with the Rh25 there that Jason has.
Yeah, so the Rh25 here, Justin was running the Rl25, I was running the Rh25. This is more kind of on your tactical side. We were trying to use this as a clip-on to try to gain a little bit more magnification. Yeah. And it was okay, but it wasn't ideal. Because with this unit, you are 640 resolution, so that's great. One base, 25 millimeter sensor only. So it is a small sensor. It's just kind of like radio antennas and things like that. The bigger antennas, the bigger lenses, they can see more, they can see further distances and get more information into that computer that's on there to come out to you on this display. But this has been an improvement to the version 1. I will say, as far as application, using it dedicated by itself or helmet mounting it, the clip-on didn't really make much of a difference because it recesses the screen inside anyway. So V1 versus V2, the clip-on still is pretty much the same. There's not real difference there. Yeah. I would say engagement range, if you were to use this as a clip-on, I missed that guy at 200 yards.
I was going to say,
you've got barely able to see him.
You've got the most experience at it. shooting at longer distances because you had that coyote on your side the other night. So
I mean, I could see them at 250, tell what they were, had no problem. But as far as I could max out my zoom on the daytime scope, I mean, I had a Vortex Razor Gen 3 that's up to 10 power, and I was probably maxing out at about 6. It was kind of hard. I was having to kind of look around the eyepiece to get it just kind of perfectly lined up.
Yeah.
And illuminated reticle, everything. So high-end scope, nice scope, and it was very difficult to try to pull off a 250-yard shot on coyote. So I don't know if I would recommend this for everybody to be making 200-something yard shots. Can people do it? Yes, there's somebody out there that will definitely find a way to do it and be able to do it with tons of practice. Yeah. Or they got videos out there, they're faking it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, in an actual situation of hunting where you have targets moving in constantly and not sitting still like a steel target, which some of these people like say, oh, well, I can shoot that far. Yeah, I'm sure you can shoot 400 or 500 yards when you got plenty of time to practice and the target ain't moving.
Yeah, and people out there, you've got to understand, this is actual live in the field footage. This was we had, I think it was a triple that came in, and one of them only really cooperated, and that's the one he took a shot at. And, he was constantly on the move, trying to get downwind of us, trying to figure out where that sound was coming from, because our stand wasn't the most ideal stand. But like Jason's saying, this is an actual moving target. It finally gave him that split second where he stopped to kind of look around and try to catch our wind. And that was Jason getting on him the best as he could and taking the shot and trying to make the most of the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, we really try to get out there and get it. It's just very difficult to do. It's not ideal. But I will tell you, though, if you want something lightweight and you're just going to want to throw it in front of your daytime optic and go shoot a bunch of pigs, or all my coyotes are under 150 yards. This is a very easy clip-on to just go with and throw it and be able to go. Yeah. As well as being able to use in multi-roll. This is the upgraded mount on it. It has a pigtail and then this American Defense mount. The way this is designed, you actually leave the mount behind on your rail. So if you run it in the AR, which just is the only way, is if you have a rail in front of your daytime optic, there is no like bolt action type deal that puts it right over top of the front objective. There is no other parts to put on.
There's no QR adapters for the Rh25 or the Rl25, so they are going to need a Picatinny rail in front of the daytime optic.
So that's the limitation to this family of clip-ons, is we are looking at some more tactical AR type guys. Or, I do know some of the precision rifles do have extended rails on them.
Yeah, you can absolutely add them, but
some guys don't want to do that. But you run it just like that. You can see you would leave this mount behind, and you can take this, use it as a handheld, run it around. It does have clip-on mode versus a dedicated mode, and also just handheld type mode. So it is kind of convenient in that regard. And then you see something, you can go ahead and quickly put it on here and then just latch it down because your mount's already on your rail, so it is already returned to zero because the mounting system stays behind. This is the upgraded mount. We'll show you what the standard mount looks on the RL25 here. So I think it's the best multi-roll. If you're looking at clip-ons, this is probably the king.
Yes, because like the box says on it, it's a 4-in-1 unit. Helmet mount binocular, single-handed binocular, dedicated scope, and clip-on scope. So this is probably the most universal one out there in the clip-on world. But like we just said, 200 yards max, ideally on the clip-on. May be able to squeeze out, what do you think, about 250 yards using it as a dedicated scope?
Yeah.
It's going to be
200
pushing
yards. I mean, 200 yards was tough. I mean, someone could try 250, but it's going to have to be just the perfect environment. Stuff's going to have to be sitting still. But with that one, there was one other thing I was going to say. I'm trying to remember what it was. I remember what I was going to say now. So essentially, you see us going through these clip-ons, you're going to see us talk about, essentially, there's limitations on each. And all these ones we're going to pull up, there is no perfect clip-on out there.
No,
so you're going to have to kind of take the things out of it that you're going to use in your type situation. We may have more tactical guys going towards this route. We have less hunters. Sometimes we do have hunters that say, you know what, I'm just going to sit in the deer blind, I'm going to throw this thing on when I need to, and then I'm ready to go. Or some guys run it as backup. They have that favorite rifle they have, and it's like, just go for it. I mean, it's a hell of a unit, and we still the V1 still operates in the same capacity. Some people think V1 versus V2, as those V1s are slowly fading out. But that V2, I did like the newer display that was in it. So, and then I like the audio and some other things on it. But 18650 cheap cheap $20 battery.
Yeah, you can find
Easy
them
to
on
run.
Amazon. You can find
Yeah,
them
you
on
can swap them out. I mean,
the website or anything, man. It's not hard to find them.
Yeah, we ran most of that. I think it was like over 4 hours of battery life, so that one was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it does have a little brother.
Yeah, so the RL25 is the 25 mil lens, 384 resolution, same functionality as the Rh25, but I believe this one,
2 base.
yes, is the 2 base magnification. So that's one of the biggest differences, aside from the resolution, the 384. This is actually the one that I got to run as the dedicated scope, and then I ran it also as a clip-on. And I will be honest with you, it was very hard to see those coyotes that Jason was shooting at, because I got to see them firsthand before they got completely all the way on his side. And I want to say when they were standing at that corner, what do you think they were? Probably 250-ish yards, 275.
Up on top of that hill was over 250.
Yeah, and I was able to identify what they were between 2 to 4 power magnification with my daytime optic, but as I got closer, it just essentially washed it out. I wasn't able to see what they were. All I was able to see was just a big white blob out there, and I would have to back it out to really identify what that was. And then, of course, as I get closer, that picture gets better as you get higher in your daytime optic magnification. But ideally, I would say no further than 150 yards, being able to execute a good shot and be able to see where you're aiming besides just a big white blob inside the screen. So I would say that would go hand in hand also on the dedicated side too. 150 yards would be able to make a good shot on your target and still know where you're shooting at on the target, and essentially know what the target is that you're shooting at.
And that's the standard mount on there that it comes with without upgrading the mount.
And that was the other different thing that I did, as I ran it with the standard mount that they've essentially made a QD style mount, but it's not the same thing as the American Defense. It's just a different version of a QD style mount. This one comes standard. Don't have to pay to get this style mount here, but it lined up just fine with the optic that I used. The optic I used was on a American Defense QD.
And that was the standard one. It wasn't the medium height. It was just the standard.
Yep, just a standard 30 mil American Defense mount. It lined up perfect with the standard mount that the RL25 and the RH25 comes with. So you can make note of that. They will pair up together well. And essentially, I don't remember, what rings did you have on your Vortex Razor that you ran that paired up well with the...
I mean, those were 34s. I can't remember what rings there were on there.
They're just standard height, weren't they?
Yeah, I think those were just standard height. That was like some Midwest Industries 34 millimeter rings that were on there, but they were standard height.
Yeah, and they paired up well with the MQD and pigtail system, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't have any issues with that. I mean, but the thing is, they both have those screen alignments, which all these clip-ons, you adjust the screen. I can't tell you how many people think they just throw it on in front of the daytime optic and be good to go. Yeah. They all need adjustment. And so what you do is you'll move that screen around your daytime crosshair just to make sure that it's all zeroed in. Yeah. That can get aggravating sometimes. I mean,
it does. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, going to use this as a clip-on, this was the first time I had ever sighted a clip-on in with the daytime optic and all that good stuff. And having a little knowledge behind all this, it wasn't too difficult. I think it took me maybe 30, 45 minutes at most. And honestly, the most difficult, it sounds crazy, but the most difficult thing was remembering how to sight in a daytime optic again. I'm so used to sighting in thermal that it just turns everything around on the daytime aspect. So,
y'all gonna hear me up here a second?
Yeah.
Kaylee, can you go hit off on the alarm system? It's about to go off. Better run. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we always forget that our alarm system automatically activates at a certain time, so that in case we were to forget. So sorry. If you ever want to know how security works around here.
Yeah, no, we're at 6 o'clock. It goes off. Don't come in banging.
Tell you to get the heck out. Tell you to get the heck out. Is what it's telling you.
So RL25, like I said, 150 yards is going to be the most ideal distance on being able to see your target, making a good shot on your target, and still knowing what that target is. And then with Rh25, you'd think maybe gains another 50 to 75 ish, maybe 100 yards.
200 to 250 yards. So I mean, you're almost doubling it. But it's 25 millimeter sensor. That's what the thing is that when you come to that front sensor, of how much it's able to pick up. So that's where we're going to kind of go over to some of these other ones now, where you have larger sensors, get some more distance for the clip-on type use. Outside of kind of these tactical type deals, because we do get some guys who want to do magnifiers and red dots and magnified reflex sights behind these small thermals, which is perfectly fine to do that. But we're going to get some more into some of the hunting and longer range shooting with thermal clip-ons now with some of the different families and styles.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and
Show you what we grab.
I was going to say, let's grab that Rattler C. Let's kind of work our way into it. So we'll start, kind of at the bottom and work your way up on distance-wise and what capabilities are a little bit higher than others, and just has a little bit more features than others. So I think Jason's got there. I want to say this is 35-384 Rattler C clip-on here.
So we got a Rattler C. This is the older style mount. There is a newer mount out here. So and they may still have a couple out here like this, just perfectly fine. They just got one that's just a little bit shorter. But just doesn't affect functionality or height or anything like that. It's still the same. So we do have our Rattler C here. This is running like on the Rattler 2. You all good?
All
You've been
situated here.
fighting with that microphone today?
Yeah, I was going to say I had sandpaper tongue, so I'd rehydrate.
So our Rattler C here kind of runs on that Rattler V2 battery system, to where you've got the cartridge style battery that goes right here in the side. So I mean, you can run this sucker about 10 hours. And that's your battery change here. So I do like the battery on this thing. With it though, so you can QD mount it like on AR, but you also can remove this mount and run rings here. Now these are custom fit rings. It's getting to be to where we're getting kind of busy with these, to where we pretty much only help people that are getting the clip-ons from us.
Yes, because
that will help them with the sizes. And people have to measure it, and we're doing pictures back and forth with people. It is pretty labor intensive for us.
It's a very picky process.
Yeah, because we try to custom fit this ring to your daytime optic to where it is a perfect fit. And then we're getting down to the millimeter. Measuring that, it's housing plus glass. So 50 millimeter scopes, they have on the 50. You don't know, you can't do a 50. Oh, well, it's 54 with the metal housing, because this sheath's over top of your daytime optic there to be able to fixate this on. And so, that 54, well, we can do 54 and 54. We have to do that 55, 56, something to where it can go over the top.
You got to compensate for
neck to neck.
Yeah, so they're not neck and neck, something that's going to slide over. So yeah, it's a very picky process, and like Jason said, it does get kind of I would never necessarily say a pain. It's just the amount of time that we spend helping somebody just buying a QR adapter versus if they're buying the QR adapter plus the Rattler C. It just, you kind of weigh your options there and pick, the Rattler C and the QR adapter over just somebody wanting the mounts that bought the unit somewhere else. It just doesn't benefit anybody else.
Because we pretty much on average, we know we're going to at least have to send it back and forth at least once.
Yeah, there's nobody that ever really gets it right unless they've done it before, or they are a gun guy or a scope guy that
like
knows
they're getting the calipers out and measuring the exact millimeter measurement. Sometimes we're out there with measuring tapes of centimeters and inches and doing conversions and things like that. So unfortunately, we've had to kind of go to that policy, but that's perfectly fine. If you get it from us, we're going to make sure you get the right size. We will custom order it. We will have it over here. It may take us a couple weeks, but we'll definitely make sure you have the right adapter for this. So getting into the Rattler C, the one thing with this one is, what is your max magnification with the daytime optic? And it is essentially 5. Sometimes you can probably get up to about 6 power.
Just depending. If you do have a higher end glass, like not being brand specific, but like a Vortex Razor, that one will essentially probably work up to a 6 power. But anything else, I guess you could say lower price pointed daytime optic, LPVO style, is only going to be probably about a 5. Somewhere between the 1 to 5 is going to be ideal.
Yeah, so just know, if you go and get, didn't you have somebody today that sit there and said, hey, I've got a 4 power scope?
Yeah, it's essentially not going to, yes, will it work, but you're not going to have any range of magnification to use. You're going to be
field of view, no field of view at all. You're very you're sitting on the very center of that screen and nothing on the sides.
And essentially, we kind of told him that when at the time of purchase, and he was totally totally fine with it. He received it, got it mounted, and he was like, man, that 4 power is just a little too much. I think I'm going to go get me an LPVO, something between 1 to 5, 1 to 6. He was like, does it affect if I buy like a lower end glass versus a higher end glass? I was like, essentially, yes, it will help out just a little bit, but will it make a huge difference? I mean, I personally don't think so. Now, will some of the precision guys who shoot high-end glass notice a cheaper glass in front of a thermal? Yeah, or behind a thermal? Yeah.
It is kind of interesting you mentioned precision shooters. So just know, just because you have precision shooting glass and I can go ring a dong at a mile out or whatever, that doesn't mean crap.
Yeah.
In this situation with thermal clip-ons, that doesn't mean absolutely nothing here. You are putting something in front of your glass that is a sensor and a display and a computer, and it is all digital world versus analog. And I know we get into some arguments with people on the phone sometimes. It's like, do not expect this to work like your daytime optic.
Yeah.
Know that there's going to be limitations, in resolutions and what's displayed out there, and you're not going to be shooting something 1,000 yards away anymore once you put that thermal in front of it. Just know the realistic engagements of what that's going to be. And just like this one, I think 200 yards.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. 200 yards is going to be ideal. That's going to be the max. And this is the 35-34. They do make a 19-256 option, but essentially,
and a 56-40.
Correct. Yes. And with the 19-256 version, you're going to be very limited, just because that unit
50 to 100 yards.
Yeah, that unit already is only good to a certain distance. So you can just imagine kind of what it's going to look like through a clip-on, when clip-ons is already kind of a little struggle at the beginning. So the Rattler SE is a great option for the clip-on, but just know your magnification on your daytime optic is going to be limited somewhere between, we're going to just say 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is going to be a good.
I mean, when we get in our deer hunters out here that want to go put something in front of their bolt action when they're in the stand, like, hey, I got pigs that are coming in at night after all the deer are done. So it's still great. You can still go do that. You got a controlled environment right there. Yeah. Varmint hunting, you still do some varmint hunting here with the clip-on. We get guys, they want to do hunt tournaments where they go run around their daytime optic and they want something to kind of slip over for nighttime and not have to carry 2 different sets of guns, and that's perfectly fine. Just know what the limitations are. It's not like, I don't want it to seem like we're just bashing clip-ons like all the way out.
There's just certain limitations that you have to essentially meet for it to work in your favor.
Now there are 2 more that we have that I think we'll talk about a little more favorably. Yeah. But it's a
price point. A lot of it's the price point. A lot of guys are like, well, I can get a 19-256 Rattler SE for $895, and I can go put it on my deer hunting rifle. I'm like, essentially, so you're telling me that you shoot with like a 1 to 5 power deer hunting rifle, and well, no, it's like a 3x9 or something. I was like, well, just know 5 power is going to be the ideal maximum. So you're only going to have, you're already at the 3, so 4, 5, so you don't have much wiggle room to really go. Yeah, well, and then they'll want to try it out. I'm like, well, you know how that goes. That they're going to want to return it.
Just kind of know what you're getting into. Know what certain things you're going to be able to do and not be able to do. So this was the Rattler SE in their 35-34. Like I said, they did do a 50mm 640, and you just mentioned the 19.
And the other cool feature about the Rattler SE is they have a eyepiece that you can screw on the backside and turn that into a monocular as well. So essentially, you're getting a clip-on unit that can also be used as a monocular. It has a monocular mode inside of it. So just know it's essentially a 2-in-1 scope there. Has a monocular and the clip-on functionality. Does come with the QD style Picatinny mount, and then does not, I'm going to repeat this, does not include any universal scope ring to mount this on front of a daytime scope.
$225.
So automatically, no, if you want to slide or to get the system that works with just the scope only, no QD, that you're going to look at spending another $225 to get some QR adapters.
That 35-34 is $2,700, $2,800. It's like $2,795, right?
Yes, I believe it's going to be about, I want to say $2,595 maybe, because I think they're 100.
No, I think we're a little bit more.
Let's hear.
We're going to get the exact price for you so that we make sure somebody can come back and be like, hey, yeah, you said it was cheaper.
They're going to try to price match.
Yeah, price match podcast.
It's all right, we'll make something happen here real quick. So we got Yeah, Rattler C 35 to 84, $26.95. The Rattler C 5640 is $46.95, and then we got the Rattler C 19 256. That's $8.95, and then if you're wanting to know about the AGM eyepiece for the Rattler C, that is $195 as well.
Yeah, we want to talk about clip-ons. Want to know what you're getting into, what accessories if you want them, what they cost, kind of what they're on when you're looking at building this system. Because we just want people to just kind of know, hey, what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, I said we go ahead and go to Infrared Outdoor because we just went over the AG.
We'll go ahead and go back to Infrared Outdoor here. Yep.
So this is their tried and true clip-on. This is the Mate. This is the MAH50. It is a 50 millimeter 640. 12 micron unit. Now, this is, I would say, on your higher end clip-ons. So we're looking at about $6,000 right now. I think we're on sale. Now, you might want to look that one up. I think we do have, I think there is a special price for this one right now, so I don't want to screw that up. I did add an American Defense mount on here, so there's a $200 upgrade to do a QD
so the
mount.
price point right now that they're on sale is $5,000.
So we're at $5,000.
$49.99.9.
Okay, and internal battery system. They do have it to where you can mount another battery system here. Like we've got some battery packs that you could pick a teeny mount on the side because the battery on this one I said would last about 2.5 hours on the internal.
A lot of guys do utilize the battery pack option because internal batteries ideally not the best.
Yeah, I mean if you're in cold environments, you will want some external power to it. But that is probably the weakness on it's just the battery. But the thing is, the most positive things about this. And we forgot to mention this earlier. The other 3 clip-ons that we were talking about only have 1 0. That means one rifle, 1 0. You take it off, put it on another rifle, you will have to re-zero it. The Mate has 4 different zeros that you can save. G1 through G4. G1 and G2 are 1 to 6 power. G3 to G4 are 6 to 10 power. So you can use the full up to 10 power on this scope and be able to save 4 different zeros, 4 different weapon systems. And as I mentioned, the QD mount on here was extra. They do include a mount. This is their universal ring that you are able to use and screw this on and be able to use it on bolt actions.
And this is a very popular one that a lot of bolt action guys like to utilize the most because it does come with that standard QR mount, but this one has just been so much popular for bolt actions.
I mean, you can see the universal mount is a little bit bigger. You can go custom and reduce some of your weight and reduce some of your overall profile here with going custom, which we can help do that as well. $225 for a custom ring. So just kind of fit what fits for you.
Yeah, and show them the cool thing about the Mate. This is one of the cool features that the Mate does have.
We have some buddies that like to remove the control button, so it is a wireless remote. It does recharge itself from putting it right on top there. So, but we are getting some questions. These things, there is a version 2 of this released in Europe. It is not scheduled to be released here, so don't ask.
Yeah, everybody, as soon as they seen because the version 2 is essentially an LRF unit as well. It's like the MAHR.
Yeah, LRF or something like that.
Yeah, so it has a built-in rangefinder.
And they never did have approval to put laser rangefinder on here in the U.S. So there's no add-on to add laser rangefinder to this in the U.S. So just as is, this is what you're getting. You can't get them. We tried to sneak them in, but just know there is no laser rangefinder on the add-on here in the U.S. market. There is in the European market, so not everything that's over in Europe makes its way over here to the United States. So just know that, and that happens with all kit manufacturers. Certain things are over there that are not over here. So, and the thing is, vice versa against them. We have so much more here than they do a lot of the times.
Oh yeah.
But I really like this clip-on. It was very extremely lightweight,
and it is a 5640 unit. It is got a very, very crisp image. And it pairs well with some good high-end daytime optics as well. Like Jason mentioned, we got a couple good buddies who mainly run these in varmint competitions. They have some.
I think like the whole team has them.
Yeah, I know they do have some high-end Swarovski scopes that they pair these up with. And I'll be honest with you, I think I've looked through a couple of their setups, and man, it's ideal. They love them, and I can see exactly why because the image is phenomenal. And they are running just the QR adapter only. They're not running the Picatinny mount. You do have a turn dial focus, so you can fine tune that image very, very well. And then the front does have a magnetic lens cap. So it just, as soon as it gets close, it sticks to each other, and it's very easy to open and close. So like I mentioned earlier, this one's been very, very popular for a lot of the bolt action guys. Of course, AR guys love it as well because they can utilize the Picatinny mount.
And the display on that thing's big enough to where you can use it with. And there's like some weird monocular eyepiece that it is for. It looks like freaking dildo on it. It was like that.
Yeah, it's huge. But they didn't. That never came out over here.
No, it didn't.
I never seen that over here.
But the thing is, I've taken that thing off, and I can see in that display perfectly fine using it as a scanner.
Yeah, and that's
taking it on and off.
That's what I've told guys as well. I was like, yeah, it might not be the most beneficial thing, but you can turn it on, and if you put it close enough to your eye, you can see a couple 100 yards, no problem with it, and utilizing the magnification with it as well. So,
yeah, so I mean, if you're gonna blow your wad all on one deal, and you don't have money for a handheld, and you sacrifice the handheld to go get one, this is probably the one. Yeah, this would be the one to do it. And it's nice and lightweight. I think that you can get away with it.
Yeah, so ideally you can make it work, and it's, like I said, really good image inside.
Yeah, so everyone, like I said, there's always kind of like gives and takes, things you're gonna have on the clip-ons. So think we got it all covered on the mate.
Yeah, the mate, like I said, very, very popular unit. This one's probably, I wouldn't say we get the most questions about this one, but it's definitely up there just because it is one of the higher end clip-on units that is out there. And we've got one more left here for you, and then I just thought of a couple more that we didn't, or one more essentially that we didn't remember. Yeah, but no, it's all good. We'll catch it at the end.
Get some honorable mentions in here.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an interesting one here. This is an AGM product. This one is actually it is pretty new, and Justin was the one that essentially brought this up. I knew this was out there, but nobody is talking about it. Get your mic figured out.
Yeah,
there.
we got a little situation going on.
I'll have to pause for a second as he gets the microphone, so we have to excuse our audio. Oh, you got it.
Yeah, too much movement. Then screwed it up. We'll be good there. All right, we'll make that work.
I'll take care of it.
Nah, we're good.
So this one was one that Justin said, you know what, we need to spend more time with this. We think that all the questions getting on clip-ons, this one's going to be kind of the one that's going to answer a lot of the people's needs, I guess, right?
Yeah, I believe. I mean, realistic, if you think about it, it's got everything that everybody wants, essentially. Now, there might be one takeaway because of the battery system. Yes, it is for CR123 batteries, but they've got life to them.
Well, this is the AGM Secutor LRF, and this is the 5640. They make a 75. So we're going to see how the 50 goes before we go hopping into the 75,
yeah.
Which is going to be a lot bigger sensor here in the front. But there are some advantages and disadvantages to the Secutor, but I can say that it is definitely interesting. Looking at it in profile wise, it can take the custom rings. Yep. So just know you will need some rings for these if you're going to put them on your bolt action or you have no rail. But if you do have the rail, of course, you got a QD mount right there ready to go. Put it in front of any type of rifle with the Picatinny out in front.
And that is the standard mount that it comes with. So there's no
upgrades on that.
No upgrades on that. That's the amount that it comes with, and there's no changing that out for anything else because that is a custom fitted, custom made Picatinny mount that is made from American Defense specifically for this. So
yeah,
besides the universal or the adapters here, the QR adapters, that is going to be, essentially your two options for this unit, or just pair it up in front of a LPVO. We paired it up in front of yours just a few minutes ago, and it worked just perfect. So you can run it with just the Picatinny mount. It's gonna work in a few multiple ways for you there.
CR123 batteries.
Yep.
You can run throwaways. You can run rechargeables. We ran rechargeables for 4 hours. No problem at all. Or at least 4 hours. I mean, sometimes if you don't do a lot of the power saving stuff, like if you just left it on, you'd be 4 hours. But if you did some on and off, you might extend it to get closer to 5.
Yeah, ideally, we'll say four, somewhere between 4 to 5 hours, just because if you're powering the rangefinder as well and then recording your hunt, and that's going to sacrifice some battery juice there for you. But it has the turn dial focus knob, so you can fine tune that image very, very well. And the cool thing about this one, it does have the integrated laser rangefinder. You can't, and it does show the yardage inside the scope. But I'm trying to, it was about 4 power, up to 4 power on your daytime optic. You can still view the yardage. Once you get past the 4 power, anything past 4 to 10, you're not going to be able to see the yardage inside the scope. So you're going to essentially have to back out to get to at least the 4 power to see your yardage. Then you can zoom back in. But essentially, you can put your ballistic calculator or ballistic functions inside of it as well, I believe.
Shouldn't be able to because there's no crosshair.
Is it?
Yeah.
I want to say I thought we
look
did
and see.
that.
Look, yeah. As I said, I didn't look that.
We haven't really.
There's a ballistic function on there. We have not got a chance to field test it, but we wanted to include this one because this is the next little project we're going to be messing with as far as clip-ons are concerned. Because the ballistic information, when you have to have your data in there, and there's no crosshair reference.
Yeah, what we got? Oh, that is correct. Yep. So I'll eat my words there. I thought.
We've been doing a lot of Secutor, dedicated thermal tests, and it's in there, and it's actually a really cool feature. But that laser rangefinder, what we have, like 1,000 yards or something, over 1,000 yards for the laser rangefinder.
So what's cool about this one is you can set it to continuously range find for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 120 seconds, and 300 seconds. So yeah, the laser rangefinder on the Secutor is a 1,200 yard rangefinder. So essentially, that's going to be probably a lot further than hopefully anybody's shooting.
You can sit there and range, and we were kind of poking about precision shooters and things like that. Well, if you need something to give you ranges, your holdovers, things like that, with your daytime optic, if you need to make a couple clicks or whatever, you're able to do that now with this thermal, which you're not able to do with a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
So, we are curious to see where advanced shooters are able to do a little bit more with the thermal clip-ons, which I was kind of jabbing at a little bit earlier, because I knew this is what we were going to talk about at the end.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of our questions that we get is so basically when the phone call goes, do you have a clip-on that can go up to, this let's say 3x9 daytime optic? Well, yes, we're limited to 2 options. Well, we want to look at, a $2,000 price point. Well, unfortunately, there's nothing out there in the clip-on world that's going to get you in that price point. But ideally, if you want to spend more, like between the Mate and the Secutor, it can happen because they're both capable of going up to a 10 power on the daytime optic.
What was the price on this one? I can't remember.
Oh, let's see here. Let me.
Sorry, because my phone's on doing the TikTok, so
we're slacking on prices today.
There's so many different products out here. I'm not even going to try to guess anymore. It's like I just got to look it up. Someone calls me, it's like, man, I can't. I got to remember. There's so many different new products.
So Secutor C 5640 is $49.95. 75640 is $61.95. So yeah, they are pretty pricey. But back to the conversation of how our conversation goes about somebody asking for a clip-on, and then so they ask, well, can it go on like a 3x9 scope? Well, essentially. Yes, but it's not going to work on the lower end units of a $2,000 budget. Now, if you want to go up to at least, let's say, the $5,000 price point, we can get you in the Secutor C 5640 that can withstand the 10 power. Well, if they don't care about the magnification, they know they're going to have to spend, then they want the laser rangefinder. Well, here, Secutor C gives you both of those. You get the laser rangefinder and a unit that's going to go up to a 10 power on your daytime optic.
And now the takeaway. Only 1-0.
Yeah. So essentially,
only 1-0.
There's some gives and there's some some takes, but it will work up to a 10 power daytime optic
with the laser rangefinder. Think about guys that are talking about. Well, I know what my dope is on my scope. I know if it is 300 yards, I'm going to do 2 clicks.
Good. Yeah.
There you go.
Essentially, the Mate's going to do you just fine then. They're right now at the same price point. $5 difference.
Well, no, like the guys that know the dope, the thing is they make those adjustments because they know what yardage now.
Yeah, that is true.
Because the Mate doesn't give them the yardage, so the thing is that Secutor is going to give them a little bit of advantage to shoot further. Where we were kind of putting some limitations on people,
and they know their clicks or all the good stuff.
So somebody that does want to make that 500-yard shot for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I think with the laser rangefinder now has that option because there's no nighttime operating laser rangefinders unless somebody has a handheld or they have another scope that they're using to try to get that range and get those distances. So now I think that this might open up a little bit of the clip-on market here. It's still probably 2%. 2% of the market here in the United States.
I hate to say it, but you're almost better off getting a dedicated thermal scope versus trying to play the clip-ons. Unless, we do get those guys that they're dead set on it. And, hey, we're more than happy to get those guys taken care of. And, get everything they need to make it work just fine. So,
I mean, 10 power, if you got 9 or 10 power and he's like, hey, if it's 9 or 10 power, that's all I need. I can really go out there and make something happen, go shoot long range with a thermal. It's like, all right, that's good. It's like, then I think that this may be the way to go for them, where they can get that laser rangefinder and make those adjustments for them, because there's no ballistic calculation. Now, just know some of these new laser rangefinder units that are dedicated have ballistic solvers and ballistic integration into their dedicated scopes now, to where we are seeing people make 500 and 600 yard shots with dedicated thermals. Yep. No daytime optic, just the thermal itself, because you put in,
it has everything
data
all in one. It's all built into one scope there.
And so there's no longer, there's no clicks on the fly, that kind of adjustment. It is doing it for you within seconds. You do laser rangefinder, it adjusts and makes those adjustments for you. Put you a little X over there to where your bullet drop's going to be. Now that's only elevation. There's no windage. There's no left and right. We got straight on up and down. So you guys will kind of have to know, which way your wind's blowing, which way you're going to have to.
Yeah, there's going to be a little more that goes into that versus the dedicated scope that, kind of does all that good stuff for you already.
So, but is there anything you think we missed? I mean, I think we've kind of covered pretty much everything in clip-on world. What was the one that we missed that
the
you
hybrid?
Talk about? Ow.
The hybrid, but it is, man. You add
that's a beast.
It's like throwing a dumbbell in the front of your gun and trying to use it as a clip-on.
I mean, I won't.
It is doable.
Colt did do it with the hybrid 75.
Yeah.
That Colt did do that with the hybrid 75, and he liked it okay. Now, but the thing is, he still said he preferred the mate. Yeah. Just because.
So that's why ideally we don't have a hybrid here in front of us. Yes, they are called the hybrid because they do have the clip-on functionality along with the dedicated scope functionality.
But that's only AR.
Yeah, because
only AR mounting, no bolt action mount.
Yep, you can't use any of the QR adapters or anything because the rear, I guess you could say the eye relief is not threaded for anything.
And only 1-0.
Yep, and like you said, AR only can be used on the mounting system. There's no QR adapters that are compatible with it. So essentially, it's not the most beneficial.
Man, I did not like the hybrid as a clip-on. Man, I probably shouldn't say that, but I just didn't. I think that mate, if you're looking in for outdoor product, I just think that mate was just so superior. I think
it was in a world of its own.
In my opinion, I really liked the mate. I know they're going to hate me for saying that, but you know what? I will tell you the truth, because the hybrid 5640, that's a 5640. Now, if you really think you need a 75, go hop at that 75. But man, that sucker is heavy.
Yeah, you're gonna be front heavy. You're gonna be carrying.
But I said Colt did a really good job. I mean, he made a badass shot when we were out together.
Oh yeah, no, he did. He was a run. About 200 yards.
He was running a shot and dome one in the back of the head, running at like 275 or something like that. So
so an acre every now and then.
So if anyone's gonna do it. Yeah, well, he got that 6mm. He got that 6mm in that AR, yeah. So he was all happy. He was wanting to go lay one out there, and he did. You can do it. So I don't know, man. It's definitely interesting. A lot of guys that are wanting to shoot long range, they're not necessarily using ARs.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it was good to kind of cover some of these other things. If some of these guys that are wanting to shoot longer range with their bolt action rifles for accuracy and dependability. Yeah. I mean, even though I'm a big AR guy. I still agree with you that, bolt action is still king in that regard. There is new things coming out and improvements to ARs and better barrels and, things like that. But, everyone's going to get something a little different in the clip-on world. So just, if you have questions, always give us a call. You at FeralTexasOutdoors.com, guys.
As I say, come by and see us at our retail location. We'll put all the fitments together for you to see if a clip-on is going to be more beneficial for you than a dedicated scope. Or we can get you into a dedicated scope. Like I said, come by, see us at our retail store location. But be sure to check us out at Hunting After Dark Podcast on Apple and Spotify. Search us up on YouTube at Hunting After Dark Podcast, or check us out on our website at huntingafterdarkpodcast.com. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.